What's going on, my people, man? Man, it is a beautiful day in sunny Southern California. It's been taking me a long time to put this video together. This is the fourth time, the fourth attempt. Not only has this video been requested within my comment section, you know, there are people like my man Willie who stopped me over in Oklahoma City and asked me about making this video. There's my man Vaughn who put it in the comments, who asked me about, hey, why don't you put a video together about buying a truck, or how do you do it? So guess what? I'm doing it, man. If it's that important for people to stop me and ask me and just talk to me and chop it up with me, and that's one of our major discussions, and people keep putting it out. If it's that important for y'all to ask me, guess what? It's that important for me to put it out. So guess what? We doing it. Here's that much awaited video about how to buy a truck and what I did when I purchased my truck. And I'm serious about it. I ain't joking. This is no joke. Let me tell you, let me show y'all something. Y'all see this right here? This right here? Front and back. Front and back, right? This right here, that's how important it is for me to put this video together for you. Alright? So let's get at it. So the first thing, the number one thing, the first thing you got to do, you got to know your budget. When I say know your budget, you need to know what your home expenses are. You need to know what your truck note and your truck expenses could be. You need to pay attention, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to get into this truck and then all of a sudden your home expenses are this much, your truck payment is this much, and then when times get slow and things slow down, you find yourself stressing or you find yourself struggling, and the worst of it all, you find yourself having to give that truck back because you can no longer afford it. So you got to know your budget. You got to know your budget at the house. If you say your expenses at the house for the month is like $3,000, and you say, hey, my truck nope, I don't want to be too big of a payment. I want to be somewhere between, let's say, $1,100 and $1,400 a month. That's doable. If your budget shows that you can handle that, you do it. When I say know your budget, I say know it because for all of us out there who's been driving for a while, we know that after the New Year's, it slows down. Things get slow. So when things get slow, you don't want to be in a spot where you're like, oh snap, man, how am I gonna make this payment on my truck? Or man, you know, I gotta make the payments to the house and I gotta contribute to the house, my pay. Because you have to pay yourself as an employee of your company. So you gotta know your budget. You gotta know what you can afford. Big shouts out to Super Trucker Dan. Super Trucker Dan got me onto this years back when he first purchased his white Peterbilt 386, and he said, I want to pay this much for my truck. I don't want to be this much in debt. This is all I want to pay for it. I want my payments to be this much. And I'll see if I can find that video to see if I can upload it or even post it so that you guys can go check it out yourself. It was a really, really good video. So big shouts out to Super Trucker Dan. He's a flatbed driver over at Mercer. The next thing you want to pay attention to is how to get the funds you need to be able to save or to be able to purchase your truck. Now I'm gonna tell you, if you're out here making 30 cents, 35 cents, 32 cents, 50 cents a mile, you ain't gonna be able to save those funds to be able to get this truck. What you need to do is you're gonna have to probably lease a truck. Now I know a lot of people saying, I don't want to lease, I'm not comfortable with leasing a truck, I don't know the ins and outs about leasing a truck, but you have to get into a type of employment where you're earning enough to be able to go out and get this truck. And leasing is probably the best option to go and do so. When I got my truck, I went over to Giltner, I leased for a year, I put down $3,000, and I didn't have to put it out of my own pocket. I saved. What they did, they was taking the payments out for me every payday to add up to my $3,000 down. The lease was a true 100%, no question asked, walk away lease. I saved the money that I needed in probably about 10 and a half or 11 months because I was getting 72% of the load. So if you go to a company that you want to lease onto, there are a few things you need to pay attention to. One, you need to make sure that that percentage is pretty high. And you need to make sure that the company you're going to is going to put you in almost a new truck. That way you don't find yourself having problems with your truck along the way. That's going to prevent you from making good deliveries and making a good earning. Okay, next, you want a company that's going to pay you a high enough percentage. You don't want a company that's going to pay you a low percentage. You want to know everything about that company. What are my fixed costs? Where am I running? Do I get a chance to see the rate confirmation before I even accept the load? Am I going to get penalized if I choose not to accept the load? You want to know everything about it. And like I said before, the most important thing is this a true 100% walk-away lease? Because if it is, in 11 months or 10 months, you can basically say, you know what, this is not for me. I think I'm just going to move on and I'm going to go elsewhere. And you can take the earnings that you have, go to a truck dealership of your choice and purchase the truck that you want. Next, the down payment. People keep telling you need to have 10 to 20% down. That ain't no lie. It's probably going to be more in the area of 15 to 20% down that you need. Let me tell you another thing, credit. If your credit's good, it's always a good thing. But understand, you have no business credit. You have no commercial credit. So guess what? You still going to have to put down that big down payment even if you have good credit, because you have no commercial credit. And not only that, this is your first commercial purchase, your first commercial loan. People say, well, hey, Willie D, how much did you save? For me, I'm going to tell you, I've heard people say it, and I can't take credit for it, but people say, man, save about $20,000 to $30,000. Guess what? They wasn't lying. I'm listening to all these sounds. Believe me, you're going to need all that. I'm going to tell you why you're going to need it. You're going to need the down payment for the truck. You might need to travel to go pick up the truck. And you're going to need money set aside so you can help continue to apply the funds to the household. And you're going to need money set aside in the event of any maintenance or anything that could happen while you have the truck. All right? So don't go out there and just have enough saved for a down payment. I'm going to tell you, if you do that, you set yourself up for failure. I'm just telling you. You setting yourself up for failure. All right? At this point, this is the time, man, when it's time to go out and start visiting those dealerships. Now, I don't recommend going out to these little cheap mom and pop dealerships, and I don't recommend buying a truck or trying to buy a truck in your backyard. I recommend that you get out, you look around, you find a truck that you like, and then when you find that truck, you have the money saved and you be prepared, man, to hop on a plane or a bus or drive, whatever you need to do to go get that truck. When I got my truck, I'm over here in Cali. My truck was in Pennsylvania. When I turned my truck in over at Gildner, I turned around. That Monday, I had a plane ticket flying out. I flew over to PA, got there that night, checked into the hotel, got up the next morning, touched base with my sales guy. He came and got me, went over, we looked at the truck, test drove the truck, did a little bit more paperwork. Next couple of days, I was heading out to go to orientation for Landstar. And another thing, I was talking about making that payment or keeping that payment down. When you got low payments and stuff like that and you ain't stressing about payments, man, let me tell you what, it makes things feel so much better. Your stress level is like way down here. You ain't worrying about, oh Lord, what am I gonna do? Oh, the loads ain't right, or oh, I can't find a load. Nah, you ain't worrying about none of that. And that's another reason why I picked the truck at the price range that I did, and I did everything that was gonna make things better for me. Now, I won't worry about nobody else. I had to make sure that was good for me and my family. Now, I was talking about it's time to hit them dealerships and look at some of them trucks, because everybody be like, man, I want me a Pete, I want a hood, I want a W9. But let me tell you something. You ain't gonna know what none of those trucks feel like until you take the time to go to those dealerships, get into them trucks, sit in behind them, maybe test drive them, get to see what it's like looking up over that hood, or get to feel what it's like adjusting that seat, or what that sleeper feels like. You ain't gonna get a feel for it until you go and see it yourself. Once you go see it yourself, then you be like, okay, that's what I want. Or you know what? It's too big. I can't deal with this. It's too big truck. So now you'll know, all right? So once you done hit them dealerships and you done seen these trucks and you like, hey man, I'm with me a 389. That's what I want. I'm good with it. The next thing you need to pay attention to is making sure that when you get that truck, that you already have it set up to get insurance. Now let me tell you, The dealership is gonna give you liability insurance. They'll give you liability all day, no problem. But what you need is comprehension and collision. You're gonna need comprehension and collision insurance to be able to get that truck off the lot. You're gonna need that so you can get a temporary plate, because believe me, that truck ain't gonna have no plates, no stickers, no nothing on it. All right, but you gotta have that plate on there. Now you guys say, hey man, what about getting a truck out of another state? You know, do I got to pay out of state taxes? Not unless you buying that truck and you taking it over to a company to lease onto. When you tell your finance company, hey, I'm buying this truck to help with my business, and I'm taking this truck to go lease on to another carrier or another company, then what they can do is they can actually send the paperwork in to DMV, or send it to you, so you can take that truck over to DMV to have that truck inspected, so you don't have to pay those taxes on that truck, the out-of-state taxes. That's what I did. I got my truck. My finance company was like, hey, we're going to send you a form. You got to go take it to DMV. You got to get an inspector to look at your truck and inspect your truck, and he going to fill it out and sign and see everything is good. Once that, send it back to us, and we'll be able to make it where you don't have to pay them out-of-state taxes. That's what I did. I avoided those out-of-state taxes. Okay, so now that we got everything taken care of, we done found the truck, we ready to go, you know you got to get the insurance. These are a few things I look at when I'm looking at this truck. First of all, you can't be afraid to get dirty. You got to get dirty. Get some old jeans, an old t-shirt, long sleeve, and be ready, man, to crawl up under that truck and look for leaks, look for overspray, you know, look for different things. Now, if you see a whole bunch of new connections, new fittings, then obviously somebody's been working on that truck. But if you see a whole bunch of overspray, you see leak spots on the ground, you get there and that truck is warmed up already, those are telltale signs, man, that that dealership is trying to hide something, and something's not right. What you could do is you can go there, you get there, you see the truck already been warmed up, you can tell that sales guy, hey, you know what, I'm gonna come back tomorrow, but please don't start that truck. Leave that truck like it is. I want to see what the cold start is like. I want to see what the oil temp or the oil pressure is like when I start it up. You can tell him I want to see what stuff looks like from a cold start. You know, so just let him say, hey, leave it alone. Then the next day, go back and do it again. If you get there and that truck is warm again, somebody started, something ain't right, guess what? Take your money and go elsewhere. Just leave, because something's kind of fishy. Something's a little bit fishy, all right? So those are some of the things I look for. Another thing I look for is I don't try to buy a truck that has low torque. I look for a truck that has about 1800 to 1850 on a 13 speed. And if you're looking for an 18 speed, of course, 20, 50 foot-pounds of torque is what you're looking for. I recommend either a Detroit engine or either a Cummins engine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Cat, but there's like, I don't know too many Cat mechanics around here, and I don't think there are a lot of Cat parts out there sitting out there on the road where you can have your truck worked on in the event that something happens. So you have to pay attention to things like that too. When I was talking about getting down and dirty and looking up over that truck and checking out stuff, when I say get down and dirty, man, I mean when you crank that truck up, you want to listen for squeaks. You want to listen for sounds. You want to listen for air leaks. All right. You want to look at that serpentine belt, and you want to see if the letters. This is what a mechanic told me one time. He said if you see that the wording and the letters have been worn off of that serpentine belt as it turns, he says chances are that belt's old and it needs to be replaced. Either way, when you turn that truck off and you look at that belt, you're going to look for any frays or nicks or cuts or cracks that are in that belt. If you see those, you might want to tell that dealership, man, hey, I want that belt replaced. Ask them, can they replace it, because it's bad. And there are things you want to look for. Like when I was looking for my truck, I was looking at the coolant. You know, I was looking at any blow-by that was coming out of the oil cap when I took it off. You know, I was looking at the tire on both edges to see was there any crazy wear. And I was looking at all of it. You know, you have to pay attention to all of it, because once you take that truck off that lot, you sign that paperwork, that truck is yours. And I'm going to tell you, 9 times out of 10, that dealership is not going to give you a warranty. And speaking of warranties, this is what Calvin Leake always taught me. He always told me, he said, man, when you go get that truck, he said, I don't care what nobody tell you. He said, man, make sure you got a warranty on that truck, whether it's being a remaining factory warranty or a after factory warranty on that truck. He said, get it. He said, because if something happened, he said, you want to have a warranty on there so that all that money ain't coming out your pocket. Let me tell you, it don't take much, man, to put that truck down, to take that truck out of its normal rotation, and to have you sitting back waiting for it to be repaired. And if you ain't got a warranty, I'm gonna tell you, coming out the pocket with $4, $5, $6, $12, $15, $25,000, that ain't gonna be a good day. That's not a good day for you. And I'm telling you, this is how I did it. I'm putting it in a sense where you can understand it, but this is just what I did. So once you got everything set like you want it, then it's time to go and present your offer to the sales guy. If he's asking 50 and you know you don't want to pay no more than 45 or 48 or what have you, then that's what you go and tell that salesman that you want to pay. You say, hey, you know, I like the truck, I really like it, things look like it's going to work out for me, but I want to pay this much for it. And if everything works out, the last thing you're going to do is you're going to do all your paperwork, you're going to sign your paperwork, and probably in the next day or two, you're going to be on your way. It's just that simple. Now, this is another thing. Don't make this purchase, man, an emotional one. If you see the truck you want and it looks like, man, it's all that, don't start thinking that you ain't gonna find another truck like it. If you can't get that truck, or if something happened and you're unable to get that truck, then move on. Do not get your heart and your emotions within that purchase. Don't do it. If it don't work out for you, it ain't meant to be. I know this is a long video, but man, I wanted to try to do what I can, man, to try to make this video as sound and as true as possible. This has been a really much requested video, so I wanted to put it all together. I look at it like this. Closing the Gap, man. Closing the Gap is definitely a site that's designed to help people make sound decisions based on what people aren't really telling you or informing you about. So for me, I want to make my video as long as I possibly can because it's important. I mean, it's important, man. You know, this ain't no joke. You know, when you get that truck and your goal is to have that truck paid for within the next 3 to 4 years or 5 years, you want to make sure, man, that your purchase is a good one. You do not want a lemon. I'm just telling you, you don't want a lemon. I'm taking my time on putting together a good video for you guys, and I urge you guys, man, to take the time to go through this video, look it over, and get as much information you can from it, and I urge you, man, to use it, And if there's something that's unclear in this video, don't hesitate, man. Either send me a comment or hit me up via my email, and I'll do whatever I can to make sure that y'all have this information, that you understand what I was talking about. All right? For each one, teach one. If God be for you, who can be against you? Nobody, man. Y'all take care. Bye.